Scott, before we get into the serious stuff, has anyone cracked into Andy's box of magic tricks that he handed out to everyone?
I think I've seen a few Apple Watches kicking about the training ground, but I think everyone will probably just keep it. Obviously, it's quite special, got our name on something, so I think it will stay in the box for a long time.
Is it no one's brave enough to go for the Iron Brew given you're in a training camp?
Nah, not quite yet. Certainly no whiskey.
that's probably a good thing. The camaraderie in this squad, does that in some respects sum it up? And how important do you think that will be in this tournament environment?
Yeah, definitely. It's almost got a club feel now because this same group of players has been together for quite a long time. Obviously the 10 days we had in Spain last week was really good for that as well, and obviously the two results we got out there and the two decent performances helps that.
Looking at this Czech game, you played against the Czechs over there last autumn when it was essentially a B team, and that was a difficult night in some respects for Scotland. But then obviously you beat them at Hampden. How do you view the opposition in terms of the calibre and what you can do against them, given those two games in context?
Yeah, they're a very good opposition. Obviously the first game we played against them, we can't read too much into that because there was so many changes and we made that night very difficult for ourselves. The second game I thought the boys were excellent, but ultimately I think for us in these three games, to begin with anyway, it's up to us to impose ourselves in the game. We've certainly got the quality of players to do that, and hopefully we can start with that on Monday.
Would you accept that this first game could set the tone for the entire tournament?
Yeah, definitely. We've got to start this as well as we can. We're not just here to make up the numbers, we're here to leave our mark on the tournament and hopefully do really well.
How big an advantage do you as players regard playing at Hampden in a major tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I think playing at a stadium that we're all used to will help us, and it'll be great to have some of our own fans in there as well. Obviously not as many as we like, but to just have that bit of home crowd behind us should help us also.
The fact that you've not seen supporters for over a year, what's that difference going to be, you think?
I just think everyone in Scotland will be desperate to get behind us, and I think we'll really feel that when we're in the stadium, and we're desperate to put on good performances for them and really give them something to remember.
Just one final one for me. In terms of your own personal battle to try and get into the starting lineup, how do you feel your form is and how big a task is it for you?
Yeah, it's going to be a massive task. The lads that are playing in front of me, the last few games are all playing at a top level. I've not really had any real consistent run of games this season, so it's going to be difficult for me. But all I can do is train as well as I can and try and catch the manager's eye when I'm given the opportunity.
Scott, have the levels of excitement built now that the tournament is finally starting today?
Yeah, definitely. I think when we turned up here on Wednesday night, I think it was, we got here, even the security, the gift boxes from the captain, all the media around it, it's really kind of stepped up. I think when we were in Spain, it was quite relaxed. Boys were chilled out, but now we've got here, it's we can tell it's a real deal in a major tournament.
What are your own personal experiences of watching previous finals?
Probably not paid too much attention because Scotland haven't been there. I've obviously watched the games, but with not supporting any real team. But now that we're here and to be part of it, I'm absolutely delighted, and just hopefully we can do as well as possible.
There's a lot of talk at home about the school children being able to watch the game in school. What's your take on that and the level of excitement that it reflects?
Yeah, I think every school should be doing that. I remember during some World Cups and European Championships would be allowed an afternoon to watch a random game, but I think especially because it's Scotland, every school should be letting the kids watch it.
Are you in touch with home and aware of the excitement that's building?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a few of my mates' tickets for the games, and they're all just absolutely delighted and can't believe they've been given one. So I can sense that off them, and it just builds excitement for me as well.
What about your teammates? Do you think that the Scotland team is better now, the Scotland squad is stronger now than when you qualified against Serbia?
It's a hard one. Obviously we're missing big players from that. We're missing Kenny McLean, Ryan Jack, but we've also brought in good quality, Billy Gilmore, Nathan Patterson, David Turnbull. So a little bit less experience from the two that we've lost, but certainly I think it's still a very, very competitive squad.
What do you make of Billy Gilmore now you've seen him up close?
Excellent. That's the only way I can describe him, really.
What do you make of his story?
Yeah, it's very good. Obviously, 2 Champions League winners in the squad. It's incredible. but you can see the talent he is, and he'll have a big future for Scotland.
We hear quite a lot of hilarity from you at training. You're obviously enjoying each other's company. Has there been like any practical jokes, or who's the joker of the pack?
There's not been too many practical jokes. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Probably because we're missing Ollie McBurney, to be fair. He's always up to something. But on the training ground, we've got a good balance between when we can have fun and have a laugh, and then when it's the manager's taking the shape side of things, that everyone needs to be switched on and taking all the information.
Obviously, you play in England, so everybody keeps saying first focus is in the first match. But have you cast your eye forward to the second match, and has there been any sort of banter? Have you had any of your teammates maybe texting you?
I've not had too much from the teammates recently. When we first qualified, I told the story last week that I went back in and I had a note in my locker wishing me not the very best, to be honest, for the game against England. But I think they're all just delighted that someone in the changing room is going to the European Championship, so they're delighted at the same time.
How are you feeling now that you've had a couple of days of training and you're bedded in?
Yeah, it was good. I feel part of it. It does feel like a club feel, like I mentioned earlier on. I think everyone's comfortable in the environment now, and we just really want to try and enjoy it as much as possible.
You were asked a wee while ago by the BBC to give us like a little bit of information about each of your Scotland teammates. And I think at the time you were asked about Nathan Patterson and Billy Gilmore, and you said that you hadn't met them yet. We've just heard you speaking about Billy. Can you just tell us what you've learned about Nathan since you've met him?
Yeah, he's a confident boy and an excellent player. I learned that in the first training session in Spain when he nutmegged me and got the ball at our side. So he's certainly not lacking confidence. But I think when we seen him come on against Luxembourg in the second half the other night, he was excellent going forward, but also excellent defensively. And it's another player that's got a big future, not only with Rangers but for Scotland as well.
And how's the head coach been with you? What's your relationship like?
Yeah, it's good. He keeps himself to himself most of the time, but you know exactly what he expects of you and demands of you on the training pitch, and if you're called upon in games.
He doesn't give much away, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's slightly more relaxed than he is on camera, but he's very serious and he knows the job that we've got in hand, so he's fully focused on that.
Scott, thank you.
Scott, it's important also to relax at these kind of tournaments, so with that in mind, and I've heard you bantering with Charles about it, how's the golf been going?
The golf's been not bad. I've played a lot since the end of the season. I think we'll probably struggle to get 18 holes in round here just with the busy schedule we've got, but certainly in Spain we got out on the course a couple of times, and there's serious competition on the course as well, to be fair.
Between who in particular?
Everyone. I think Andy Robertson and Greg Taylor fancy themselves the most, but I'm sure there's a few challengers if we do get the opportunity to go out there.
And in terms of that downtime that you do have, what else are the boys doing just to kill a bit of time?
I think it's important that we do recover well, whether it's massages, doing all the right recovery things. That comes first and foremost now. But we're in the hotel. We're all testing negative just now, which is good, so we can be around each other and just really have the banter that goes on in the football dressing room anyway.
You've touched upon the young players, but what kind of a lift have they given? Have they given the group a lift with their energy and the freshness they brought to the squad? They're not burdened down by the weight of history or anything like that. They've come into this fresh. Has that given the rest of the boys a lift? Yeah,
definitely. I think when young players come into a different environment, it can be easy for them to be shy and quiet and not really stamp their personality on the dressing room. But the lads that have come in, they've been lively and really imposed themselves in the dressing room, which is excellent.
Thanks,
Scott, can I pick up on the competition for places again? Fair to say that making the squad is a huge thing, but you don't want to be one of these guys who doesn't get minutes on the pitch to actually take part in this tournament.
Yeah, I think everyone first and foremost will be delighted just to be in the squad and be part of it. But once you get here, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about trying to do everything you can to impress the manager and hopefully get some minutes on the pitch. But there'll be players that don't get minutes, and it's up to all of us as a collective to really push each other just to be the best squad we can possible. That'll hopefully result in good performances and get us the points that we need.
How tough is that going to be to invest to get ahead of the other guys that you're vying for places in the defence side?
Yeah, definitely, because we want them to do well in the games. So that's the main thing. But also it's just down to training and doing everything you can. You can train as well as you possibly can, and it might still not be enough, but you've got to do that and try and push them.
Is there the levels you need to reach in training? Is it up another notch even from international, and the the level you need to reach in camps like that?
Yeah, it's been raised again just because the sheer number of quality players we've got in the squad. But it's what you've got to enjoy when you come away as well. Enjoy the experience of training with these sorts of players and just try and raise your own game.
We'll go to Alison on Zoom.
So with the tournament obviously starting tonight, are you guys starting to feel the real magnitude of what's ahead of you in terms of the expectation from all the Scotland fans? Because it has been so long, some of you weren't even born the last time we were there.
Yeah, we can sense it, especially if you go on social media. You can see what it means to everyone. Everyone getting behind us, everyone really backing us, everyone trying to get hold of strips, tickets, anything they can. So it's brilliant, yeah, we really can feel that growing in camp.
How much does that help you guys, especially because you're based here, so you're involved in it all the time, you can see what's going on?
Yeah, it helps massively. I think it just builds the excitement for all of us, and we ultimately can't wait to get out there now and try and do our bit on the pitch to try and spur this along even more.
And in Newport? Andy?
Hi Scott, can I just touch on something that was asked, Keith's asked about the burden of history. I mean, is that something that you guys have not had to sort of deal with? You know, you're young, new squad, it's 50 years since the nation last qualified for a tournament. That doesn't seem to affect you guys, you don't seem to be weighed down by that history.
No, not at all. I think we're just here to enjoy ourselves now, but we're not here just to make up the numbers at the same time. We want to do really well, we want to qualify to get out of the group. So, yeah, there might have been a burden in previous years, but now we've done it, we're here to enjoy ourselves, but also be a serious force.
I suppose as well, I mean, it's a chance to make yourselves sort of heroes, national heroes, put yourselves into the history books, and a good win, given the way that the tournament's set up, and third place can possibly get you into the knockout stages. A win in this first game can pretty much put you within touching distance of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive game, but all the games are important. But as I mentioned earlier, we're desperate to start the best way possible, and that would be to get a win at Hampden in front of fans.
Gabriel?
Scotty, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
Just wanted to know what the plans are for tonight's game. You're going to be watching it together, and how do you think it will feel watching a major tournament for the first time that you're actually going to be competing in a few days' time?
Yeah, we'll definitely all be watching the game together, probably in the players' lounge. It'll be strange, I've no idea how it'll feel, to be honest. It'll be different taking it in from a tournament we're actually at, a tournament we're going to be part of. But we'll just try and enjoy it, but we'll also have an eye on all the games and see what's happening.
What are you looking forward to most about the game on Monday? Is it looking up to see all your mates at Hampden with McKenna 26 on the back, or the game itself? What are you looking forward to the most?
I don't actually know, to be honest. Just being part of it and try to enjoy the experience as much as possible. That'll probably be it, to be honest. And hopefully top it off with a win.
Roddy?
How much would you say that this international squad now feels like a club setup?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably the most club feel I've had since I've been in a Scotland setup. Mainly because the squad has been pretty consistent over the last 18 months to 2 years. And also the fact that we've spent so much time together recently, whether it was in March, then obviously we had the 10 days previous to coming away here, so it does feel like a proper club.
When you remember that the opening games involved Russia and Belgium, and Scotland were taking a bit of a battering in those days, that's not something that looks likely to happen now that a defensive ships goals.
No, definitely. We've got a very strong team, especially at the back, but it's up to everyone as a collective to stop the ball going in our net. And I think now we carry a good threat going forward that we can also get goals at the other end.
How do you feel the manager's solving of the problem that some people suggested was there between Kieran and Andy, putting them in the right positions? That seems to be solved now, and the team looks a lot more fluent now because of that. Yeah,
I think KT's been excellent when he's been asked to play that left centre-back role. I also think that causes opposition big problems. They don't know how to deal with it. Obviously I'm stepping in, overlapping, and hopefully he can continue to be a real threat against opposition teams in the coming games.
James?
Hi Scott. You've talked about how Scotland aren't here just to make up the numbers, and you just said it there that you're looking to get out of the group, which is something that Kevin mentioned yesterday as well. Is that something that the managers kind of talk to the group about, or is that like an unspoken thing? Has that been discussed at all?
That was it was the very first thing he said to us. He says we're here to enjoy it, but also we're not just here to make up the numbers. We're here to try and get out of the group, and we're taking this very seriously. That was his main instruction. Yeah.
Just because that would be an historic first for Scotland. So I wonder if you feel that way, or whether it's just kind of completely focused on the job at hand.
No, I think deep down it's focus on the job in hand and try to get out of the group. The manager's made that evidently clear, but we do just need to try and enjoy it as much as we can as we're going along.